Hey everybody, and welcome to my N5 series on the Roland SP404 Mark II, where I cover a topic in about 5 minutes. I said I was going to talk about things that I think or why I'm getting into hacking at these files, and a lot of it has to do with just bog standard features that are missing on the SP404 Mark II, and given firmware 5's I'll say it, lame release. I think myself and a lot of other people are just expecting we're not going to get much out of it. Um, I have been working on trying to get some projects together for the SP404 Mark II to just show like the extent of the craziness of things you can do, and I'm also getting sick of fighting with the interface. There are just basic features that the SP404 Mark II can't do. For example, you can motion record things, but you cannot go through and actually quantize motion record in any way possible. And once it's there, you can't edit it. You have to delete motion record and start over. It is a terrible way to go about trying to get some like real-time effects in place, making sure that effects are on or off for specific patterns and sequences. And it just does not meet the standards that I'd really like to have in place for something that I'd like to put together for a project. So to that end, I have off and on been just trying to hack on the pattern files. I mean, that's kind of what you can see I've got loaded up here, is I'm trying to figure out enough about how the pattern files work so that I can then make an editor, or at the worst case, edit these files by hand to get them to do what I want. Key reason is, one, we can actually save our settings for effects if you hold Shift and Mark. The problem is that this saves it for your every project across the board for SP404 Mark II. There's a file that we do not have access to that is the config file for all of your, if you go to utility and go into your system settings, whatever all of these settings are things that are at a level that we can't go access those files. I believe we can access them if we could get at the backup file and extract that, but I have not figured out what the backup file format is. I suspect it's probably a general like system tar command going through some sort of a compression or other thing, something else to just obfuscate and compress the data, but I don't know for certain. So I would really like to be able to take patterns and have those patterns be able to have motion record, to have some cool effects in place, like really push the SP404 Mark II in some crazy ways. And because the settings are saved at the system level, I cannot guarantee what those effects will sound like. Partially because, one, it's not saved to the project, it saves to your system. So whatever you've got saved would be what those parameters are. Two, we can use motion record to actually record in the parameter changes, but we can only make changes to control knobs 1, 2, and 3. If a effect has any settings that are on knobs 4, 5, and 6, those are inaccessible for motion record. So a thing I would like to find out by hacking on these pattern files, and once I understand what the format is better, find out, can we actually inject control knob changes values for 4, 5, and 6 into a pattern? It's possible because the file kind of looks like a MIDI stream to me, so we may actually be able to do this. On the other hand, we may not be able to route to those from the pattern file. I don't know if the limitation is a UI interface for why we can't record knobs 4, 5, and 6, or if it's something else. The reason why I'm at least cautiously optimistic that we can do this is because Roland at least allowed us to be able to send out MIDI for knobs 1 through 6. So it's definitely able to capture and get those MIDI settings and send them to an external device. I'm hoping the pattern file can capture it, even if we're just not able to, for whatever reason, record to it. But I won't know until I understand the pattern file some more. That leads me to, if I can at least get each individual pattern to have all of the settings that I want per project for the different effects, I can actually get them quantized. I can make sure an effect is turned on at the 111 of a bar, and I could potentially get all of the settings put in place for what I want the parameters to be going into that, and know that it's set exactly the way I want. So that's a major reason why I'm trying to do this. Another reason is we still don't have a ability to merge two patterns together. We do have a fairly decent way of using the copy and be able to hit remain and then select what that we want to extract or remove from a pattern when we do a copy, but there's no way to do a merge. And I think being able to do a pattern merge, even if it has to be offline or extracted from the being exported to the SD card, I still think that's a better solution, because at least we can make sure we could go do the effort and diligence to merge the events together and get things working. Can I get there? I don't know. I'm just trying to decompose the files and understand what they are. Maybe somebody else will take some interest in trying to do that, but I think there's a lot of value in that as well. We all, and I mentioned this in another video, but we all know that the auto detect for the BPM auto detect is pretty terrible. If we can figure out a way to look at the sample files consistently, scrub out the header information or anything else. Some of the people in the Discord were mentioning that it looks like a raw file. So I think if it's a raw file, we can go do that. We may be able to use some offline or external BPM detection tools on pads and then write the BPM in correctly for the SP404 Mark II into the pad conf. I think that would be pretty cool to be able to do. I think we may be able to edit pattern chains a little bit easier as well. Could go do bulk edits of things. So if you know every single pad on your SP404 Mark II is 120 BPM, we could make a tool that you could then just go bulk edit and say every single pad is 120 BPM now. So and that's just like a few things that come off the top of my head. I'm sure folks that have other thoughts or suggestions, I mean, you can get an offline pattern editor would be amazing. Being able to do some other effect processing and things would be really cool. So I think there's opportunity for a lot of fun things that people aren't even thinking about right now, just because we can't do it on the SP404 Mark II. But breaking these things down and understanding what we can do with it could open up an awful lot of opportunities. So yeah, as I keep saying, the Git repos in the description, go check it out. Grab any of the code. I'm not necessarily coding a whole lot, more just trying to figure out what the files are, but anybody wants to look at them, got questions, hop onto my Discord, happy to talk about it and see where things land. Anyway, everybody, as always, thanks for stopping by. Keep making music, keep having fun. Remember, if it sounds good, it is good, and peace.